them up for everybody and wipe them down. I mean, it's all choreographed. It's like a NASCAR pit crew. Now, I'm not saying they're alone in this. I'm sure the other manager teams around the country might do the same thing. But I've always been impressed by Duke's group of managers, how year after year after year they carried out the same exercises.
Well, keep in mind, back when I was in school, we didn't have to bring the chairs out. The coaches still thought it was okay to sit on the bench. The only thing we had to do was after the players got up, we had to wipe the seats off because that was where the coaches would sit down and didn't want to get their suit pants wet. And, ought to take notice, Atlantic Coast Conference, from the Duke managers, because you're exactly right, Phil. They head to the locker room. The reason being they unlocked the door. There's an idea.
No.
Have somebody to go unlock the door at the ACC men's basketball tournament. That would be nice. So, take a cue from the Duke managers.
Who was the sweatiest Gamecock you had to wipe up behind?
I hate to throw him under the bus, but it's probably going to be my roommate from college, and that's Jeff Ralston.
Oh, sweaty guy, huh?
Yes, he was. At 7 feet, he worked hard.
Yeah, sweaty guy.
When you're having to deal with Shaquille O'Neal and those type guys, you put into some perspiration. There's no doubt.
Well, of course, I feel terrible for Jeff in that matchup with Shaq. That was not embarrassing. Maybe it was embarrassing. No. I mean, it was Shaq, and he was, a 7-footer that he can handle Shaq. And Shaq was sick, the night before. I think he spent the night before in the hospital or something,
yeah,
as
really
I recall.
Looked it.
Yeah, and I think South Carolina scored the first basket of that game, if I remember correctly. And then LSU went on a huge run, and Shaq just tore the place down. Probably ended up with about, 30, 35 points that night?
No, actually, if memory serves, because I've always had this, the reason I remember it so vividly the entire week, part of my basketball scholarship, I got a partial basketball scholarship, and it allowed me to get room and board. Mm-hmm. So I lived with Jeff and the basketball team inside the athletic dorm. Those are passé now, but the Roost was where we lived. And I remember leading up to that game, every time we would go to either breakfast, lunch, or dinner, the football team was in there, and they had a countdown going. And they remind Jeff, hey, 5 days to Shaq, 4 days to Shaq.
Oh, my.
And if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to look back up the box score. I think he only scored about 17 points.
Yeah.
Now, that's a still pretty solid day. And I do remember one time he got fouled and went through with the play. He actually was fouled around the free throw line, turned, looked at the goal, threw it off the backboard, caught it in midair, and stuffed it. It was really impressive.
Amazing.
He was.
What we can remember from so many years ago. Okay, our phone number is 888-898-2525, 888-898-2525. Let's talk a little bit, and your phone calls are welcome. You can also text us. Our text line always open, which is 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. Never have I gotten that number wrong. The plumber keeps waiting for me to err on that, and I just refuse to err on that. I will not err. So, in Charlotte last night, what a long game, almost 4 hours. Thank you for having a bullpen game for both of you. And I'll tell you what else dragged that thing out. The North Carolina head coach or pitching coach or whoever the case may be, when they wanted to change a pitcher, the first thing they would do would have the catcher go out to the mound and have a conversation long enough to where, of course, the umpire's got to come out there. So that was about 90 seconds or so. Then the catcher walks back to home plate, and then the coach or the pitching coach comes out to make a pitching change. And he walked about like a 95-year-old grandfather would walk, like really slow. So that took about an extra 4 or 5 minutes. There's ways of speeding up the game, and that would be one of them. I would say that if the catcher goes to the mound, then to have a mound conversation, then you've got to leave the pitcher in for at least another pitch. Now, you and I talked about this earlier. You suggested it count as a mound visit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Do they have mound visit limits in college baseball like they do in Major League Baseball?
I think that's one of the new rules when they put in with the pitch clock trying to speed up the game. I think another one was they have X number of mound visits and X number of offensive timeouts that guys can, utilize to step out of the batter's box or go talk to their coach. I don't know why this would not be considered a mound visit. I would even go up to the professional level at Major League Baseball. If the catcher goes out there, somebody is chatting with him to try and calm him down. That should classify as a mound visit. Just because it doesn't come from the dugout, I think it still should count, especially there's no excuse for a college baseball game to last 4 hours. I don't care if there were 21 runs scored last night. The Gamecocks utilized every pitcher they had except 3 so they can pitch this weekend, which brings up another interesting point. And I know coaches can't go in, Paul Mainieri can't have this mindset going in, but the chances of you winning games against Tennessee this weekend are extremely low, judging by what we've seen thus far from this team, especially on the mound. Why not try and win that game last night against North Carolina? You've got to find a way to carve out wins, and that would be a high-level victory on a neutral field. Why not throw some of your better guys? I mean, I don't know what's happened to Matthew Becker, but he's certainly not the guy we saw early in his career at South Carolina.
No, right now he is not one of your better guys.
No, he's not.
No.
So why run him out there? And my thing is, go ahead and try and win that game last night, and because that would be a nice notch in your belt come regional time, because your SEC record's clearly going to be below 500. You need something to be able to buoy that if you can get into the NCAA tournament in some of these midweek games. You can't just throw them away like South Carolina did last night. That's when they needed to win, knowing what's in front of them this weekend.
Exactly. Look, I give them credit. They dug themselves an early hole. Well, actually, they took the early lead. Then they fell behind, and they caught up, and they tied the game, but they don't have the pitching. It's amazing. They've given up 48 runs in their last 4 games, and in each of the last 4 games, I think you could count at Arkansas, I think there were, if you consider 3 runs, I would consider 3 runs to be a big inning. Do you consider 3 runs? Anything with a crooked number would be a big inning. 3 runs. So like Arkansas in the 3-game series had like 5 innings you would define as big innings. 3-run innings, 8-run inning, a 5-run inning. And North Carolina did the same. They're not able to put out the fires when the fires erupt with their pitching right now. I don't know what the deal is, and of course, everything got kind of thrown off by the injury to SQ, and that was most unfortunate because it forced them to change their pitching plans and start Evans on Sunday. Otherwise, Evans would have started last night and maybe would have given them, it might not have been a bullpen game. He might would have gone 5-6 innings. Who knows?
That's a good point. That is a good point.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's not an original thought.
No, but it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you expect it, but I think Jarvis Evans probably deserves to be in the weekend rotation. If you look at the stats thus far this season, the Arkansas game notwithstanding, I thought he pitched fairly well against the Razorbacks. I mean, he's been one of, if not their best pitchers. He's a left-hander, and I think he deserves to be in the weekend rotation. So I don't think not having him last night is a reason you give up 13 runs on 12 hits and you end up walking as many people as they did last night.
11 walks, and they hit 2 others. So they had 13 free passes along with the home runs that North Carolina hit. Yeah, that's a recipe for defeat. Still, it was 8-8 in the 8th. Going to the 8th, and you give up 5 runs in the 8th. You know, You're pitching. You had 3 pitchers go in there, and Roman Kimball hasn't given them anything. He's gone from being a very highly touted transfer from Notre Dame to just not being a contributor. So they got issues. They got issues right now. This is and you know this weekend. The thought is, okay, well, get through this weekend and take your whipping probably, and maybe the schedule's going to lighten up. But nobody's thinking Florida at 0-6 is still a bad baseball team in league play, and Texas A&M the same way. You still got to play those guys, and you got to go out to Texas A&M, I think.
And out to Mississippi State. I mean, the SEC's not going to sit back and say, South Carolina's struggling, and let's take it easy on them.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They'll remember 10 years ago, that was the most dominant program in the league. So, it's not going to get any easier for them.
Yeah.
It may, the competition level may not be the number 1, number 3, number 5 teams in the country, but nonetheless, they're still going to be ranked solid baseball teams, especially the Volunteers, whom they see tomorrow, starting Friday.
All right, phone number 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery. Lucky number for you here on Sports Talk. We'll hear from Paul Mainieri, bring you some of his comments here coming up in just a little bit. Also, more football coverage tonight, one-on-one interview with Rasul Faison, South Carolina transfer running back. And also, we'll hear from the most touted transfer in Clemson transfer history, which is limited, of course, and that is the defensive end from Purdue, who's come into Clemson and apparently hit it off really well and has made a splash here in spring. They really like what they've got in him. Will Held, Heild, I believe. Is that right? Will
Heldt.
Yeah, Will Held. Give him Held. Will, give him a Held. So we'll hear from them. And it's an SC Wild night tonight as well. Major Billy Downer will be here, and he's going to talk more about turkey hunting season in South Carolina, which, of course, is huge. And no doubt he'll talk about and preview this weekend's Sportsman's Classic at the State Fairgrounds, which we will also be covering with our Mariana Rivera of Sports Talk, Matt Smith, who will be there for that. And we'll be back after this break.
Imagine a scrapbook filled with all your favorite memories of 75 years at Darlington Raceway. Now imagine that scrapbook going 190 miles per hour.
Have you ever? No, I've never.
You don't have to imagine it. You need to get to Darlington, where the drivers of today tackle the track too tough to tame, just like they did your first time. NASCAR Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway, April 5th and 6th. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com. Discover South Carolina.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Whether it's becoming a teacher, dentist, or engineer, every child deserves the chance to chase their dreams. Investing in a child's education with Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan, can help turn those big dreams into next steps. So don't wait. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Now through May 31st, 2025, buy the house now and reset your rate later with Mortgage Reset from Founders Federal Credit Union. Open a new mortgage or refinance an existing mortgage and get the lowest rate you qualify for now. Then you can reset it once for free anytime rates drop. That's right, at any time during the life of the loan, you can reset your rate to the lowest rate you qualify for at that time at no additional cost. Visit foundersfcu.com/mortgage to learn more. Find your local mortgage loan officer or start your application. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required. Equal housing lender, institution, NMLS identifier number 410647.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosteller Brown. Did you know your will is designed for your assets to pass through the probate court? If you want to keep your loved ones out of court, a revocable trust is a great place to start. Visit lawyerlisa.com for more information and to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
George Bryan here with Tsunami Bar Sports and some great spring golf news. If you're ready to mash your tater, I think you need a Laginator. And if you want to get more speed and crack the whip, it's time for a mini stick. So TsunamiBarSports.com, GB10 to get 10% off the Laginator and the mini stick. That's TsunamiBarSports.com, GB10 for 10% off.
Speaking of baseball, how about Coastal Carolina last night, Bergie, going up to Clemson, taking down the Tigers and being quite rude about it?
Yes, they played very well last night. Got a 2 3-run home runs in the third inning, basically sealed that ball game, went up 6-0. And you felt at that time, knowing what Clemson has done in the past, that's probably exactly where the Tigers wanted them to be. But they couldn't rally back this time. And you just wonder, Phil, that the propensity that Clemson has of not playing well early in ball games, falling behind, if we get later in the season and clearly on into the ACC and then the NCAA tournament, I don't know that that's a recipe for success. Now, I know Coach Bakich told us the other night he's got no problem with him falling behind early because he's got faith in his team. they could not get the big hit last night like they had against Wake Forest. I thought Coastal played very well. That's a solid win for the Chanticleers. 8 runs on just 5 hits last night, so they took full advantage of their opportunities.
That's a heck of a RPI win for them too.
No doubt.
Later in the year, you beat the team, ranked number 5 in the polls and high up in the RPI, and you do it on the road. So that's pretty big for them. And Clemson will be going down to Coastal Carolina later on in the season. So good to see that those two can get together and play, and South Carolina and Coastal Carolina ought to get together and play as well. There's no question about that. And let's see, what else? Oh, the South Carolina women shut out Clemson in softball. We talked about this during the show last night as they were building their lead. They went on and won that game handily and ranked number 10 in the country. And you have to be impressed with what they've done with the new coaching staff in 1 year. And I don't know much about the team. I assume she's got some transfers in there as well.
She does.
But are they legitimate SEC title contenders or maybe the next level down?
Well, considering that your SEC is probably going to be measured by Oklahoma, a team that they got swept by in Norman, my guess is probably not, but they're probably in that next tier, and I think that's pretty solid for her first year there. And also, if I'm not mistaken, I think that wrapped up another win by the Gamecocks in the Palmetto Series, which since its inception, they pretty...
Actually, if I read David Kleiniger, who's sort of like the scoreboard for that, he said that made it 5-5-1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I saw one thing that had it 5-3, but
yeah,
okay, I'll take David's word on it.
He had it 5-5-1 after last night, and
so then whoever wins the rematch at Clemson will win that. Okay,
I guess now I think also if I'm not mistaken,
or will they each get a point?
I'm trying to think if golf is involved here somehow if they are in the same NCAA regional or something, whichever one finishes higher gets a point. I'd have to go look at the bylaws of that to see how they score it. But the bottom line is that's a heck of a win for that softball team, and they have just I guess they've been one of the big surprises in the entire country so far this year.
I don't think there's any argument there at all. Because I'd have to go back and see where they were projected to finish in the SEC, and they may still finish middle of the pack towards the bottom, just how strong the league is. But yeah, to where they are right now, the end of March, playing as well as they are, complete surprise. And I guess Gamecock fans are probably thinking, look, we beat them in football, men's basketball, women's basketball. We won the Palmetto Series.
Yeah, that's right.
That's probably the way they look at it.
They'll take that and be quite happy. A few other things to talk about. Phone number 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number for you to reach us here on Sports Talk. And you're going to have to kind of bear with me here because I have a new computer, and there's really nothing worse than breaking in a new computer is like breaking in a new woman. You just have to tread lightly with it. You ever had to break
Josh, go over there and help him, please.
You just have to, you're learning as you go, and you have to tread lightly. And I keep closing windows on myself here trying to figure it out. But anyway, and I say that, of course, jokingly. I would never refer to a woman as a woman in a derogatory manner like that. Would never, ever do that. You know better. Know better than that. But anyway, I wanted to touch on a couple of the other notes of the day that we've run across. We'll have recruiting coming up for you in a little bit. A couple of new hirings in high school football in the state at Cardinal Newman High School. They have hired a former Gamecock who was a walk-on, started his career at Newberry, and I'm trying to his last name is Shaw. Cody Shaw, is that who it is? Cody Shaw? I'm trying to bide time here until I can get Lou's story to open up. Here we go. Yes. Cardinal Newman has filled... Jared Shaw. Apologize. Jared Shaw. He replaces another former Gamecock, Corey Helms, who is now at Pillion. So that's one. And then, let's see, the other one... let's see. I thought I saw a second one that was filled.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Perry Parks. Mm-hmm. Perry Parks, who used to be the head coach at Ridgeview, before he left to become to go into college coaching. He was at Coastal, and he was at Charlotte. And now he's going to be the new head coach at River Bluff High School. So that's a great hire for them. All right, sorting things out. Going to hit the break. We'll be back. Don't go away.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and cool this evening and low temperature dipping down to 41. Tomorrow, another beautiful day. Sunshine-filled skies, the high temperature reaching 79. Things do cloud up for us on Friday and Saturday. Highs are in the low 80s. While on Sunday, it looks like our best opportunity to wash away the pollen, a 40% chance we get some showers. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, blue plate menu featuring country cooking, oven baked hoagies, fresh crisp salads, authentic Greek food like gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee Ball, Bass Wheel, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks y'all and God bless.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump says he's placing 25% tariffs on auto imports, a move the White House claims will foster domestic manufacturing, but could also put a financial squeeze on automakers that depend on global supply chains. Trump told reporters on Wednesday that this will continue to spur growth. A measles outbreak in Kansas more than doubled Wednesday to 23 cases, and an outbreak in Ohio grew to 10. Kansas health officials say there is a possible link to outbreaks in Texas and New Mexico. They expect more cases and are recommending infants 6 to 11 months old get vaccinated early if they live in or near a 6-county outbreak area. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 132 points, the Nasdaq dropping 372. More details at srnnews.com.
Nobody plans for a plumbing problem. They come unannounced and usually at a very inconvenient time. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is your trusted ally. They recognize just how vulnerable a customer is at this time, and they want to help. They have well-trained plumbers who are there to make a difference when you need it most. I've experienced this. They're knowledgeable about their craft. They're not coming to your house to pitch new products. If something is broken, they'll give you a price to fix it if it's possible, or a price to replace it if necessary. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is also locally owned and operated, or I simply wouldn't endorse them. Josh and his team prioritize customer service above everything else. They handle every issue with care and precision. Those are not just words. I've had Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning out to my home. They back up those words with their actions. If you have a crisis, get some peace of mind. Online, you find them at franklinplumbing.sc.com, or you call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. I'm absolutely positive they will make whatever is wrong right again. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
Escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life with Spa MD, your sanctuary of rejuvenation. Feel the tension melt away as our expert team guides you through your customized wellness journey. From soothing massages to revitalizing treatments, we promise a remarkable experience that leaves you feeling renewed and empowered. Discover the calm within every visit. Reach out at 251-9400 or online at visitspamd.com to explore your options. Your oasis of tranquility awaits.
Some credit cards hit you with sky rates, annual fees, and surprise costs, but not here. Founders Federal Credit Union is proud to offer credit cards with rates below the national average, giving you more control over your own finances. Our Essential MasterCard rates are as low as 13.25 APR. Prefer rewards? Our rewards cards start at just 15.25% APR, so you can earn while you spend. And the best part? There are no annual fees and no balance transfer fees. Just straightforward savings designed to keep more of your hard-earned money where it belongs, in your hands. So whether you're looking to consolidate debt, build credit, or just want a smarter way to spend, we've got the right card for you. Visit foundersfederal.com/cc to learn more or apply for a new credit card today. Relax. You're with Founders Federal Credit Union. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
When you've served the Midlands for more than 80 years, you're obviously doing something right. Groucho's Deli has 8 Midlands locations and for decades holds the title of Best Sandwich, Best Salad, Best Sweet Tea, Best Fast Lunch, Best Bang for Your Buck, Best Deli. Well, you get the idea. Order online at Grouchos.com and on the Grouchos app for fast, convenient, and friendly pickup. And sign up for the Grouchos Rewards and Birthday Brownie Club.
Tune in at 6, don't miss the vibe. South Carolina's pride, we're live. Sports Talk's the place to be. From the court to the field, we're breaking news free. Join the team, follow X for more. We're taking over, that's for sure. Corn's insight, Bergen's wit, Cohen's energy, they're the perfect fit. 2 hours of sports talk bliss. Don't miss a minute of this. Sports Talk, the place to be. From the court to the field, we're breaking news free. Join the team, follow X for more. We're taking over.
All right, don't forget to follow the X. SC Sports Now is our X account, SC Sports Now. Be sure to follow that. Good to have you back on this Wednesday edition of Sports Talk Media Network. Phone number 888-898-2525. A lot of stuff to come your way as we move through the program, updating Clemson and Presbyterian. It is a 2-0 Clemson lead as they play in the top of the second inning. Tigers trying to bounce back from the loss last night. Gaffney, sacrifice fly. Becerra, bases loaded walk on a 3-0 pitch. Forced in the second run. 2-0 Clemson as they play in the top of the second inning. We'll update other baseball from other games around the state as well. Want to remind you with the summer vacation time right around the corner, and also, of course, spring is here, that you would definitely want to get down to the beach and enjoy yourself at the beach and let our man Jimmy Smith what are you laughing at? Let our man Jimmy Smith handle all your vacation planning needs, whether it's a big old house or a condo. Jimmy and the staff will hook you up and put you in the right place at the right price, but you need to get at it and make sure that you are on top of things and have your place squared away so you can make those plans. So make sure you give them a call. And the phone number is not at my fingertips right now. So I'll have to give you that phone number when I can find it. What is that?
843.
Thank you.
237-4246.
All right. Give it one more time.
843-237-4246. Jimmy Smith, James Smith Realty.
And give them the email.
Online at paulysvacationrentals.com.
I'm sort of like, I've become sort of like, what's his name? What was the movie? Will Ferrell. Anchorman. Yeah. What was the name of what was the character's name?
Ron Burgundy.
Yeah. If it's not on a script in front of me, I can't. It's got to be on a script in front of me or I'm no good. So, yeah, give Jimmy and his folks a call right now. You heard the number and you heard the email address. I'm just, when breaking in a new computer, I don't have everything at my fingertips like I normally do, and I'm trying to learn where everything is. So it's a work in progress like everything in this world. Okay, let's go to Andy in Columbia for our first phone call on this wonderful Wednesday. Welcome in, Andy. How are you?
Hey, Corn.
Hey.
I'm doing all right. I hope you're doing all right fighting new Windows 11, I take it.
Oh, yeah. Way beyond my grasp.
Vista.
Chuckling there. I'm putting it off. Hopefully Windows will change their mind and let 10 go a little further. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I don't know the difference between 10 and 11. I mean, technically, I know they're different. They have a different look and they can do different things, but I think this is 11. Is this 11? Yeah, I'm in 11. Yeah.
Yeah, if you bought anything new, it's 11. I don't think anybody, unless you're a chump, you bought 10. Okay. Well, we know you're a chump.
I just want my Commodore Colt back. That's all I want. I want my Commodore Colt back.
I haven't heard you mention or anybody mention this, but Birmingham won regional. The 4 teams in it are 4 of the original 8 ACC teams.
That's a good point. Yeah, that is an excellent point.
Yeah.
South Carolina, Maryland, North Carolina, and Duke, right?
Yes.
Yep. That's gonna be fun. Of course, you got 2 ACC teams, you got a Big Ten, and you got an SEC there. So, but yeah, the 4 original ACC teams. But you know what? Not a single person at Maryland or South Carolina probably recalls anything about that. Even Dawn Staley probably knows nothing about South Carolina in its days in the ACC.
Well,
and there was no women's basketball. There was no women's basketball back then.
What was it? AIAW or something?
Correct.
Yeah, but even that didn't crank up until when? That didn't crank up until
I don't
late
remember.
70s, maybe. South Carolina left the ACC after the 71 season. So I'm not even sure you had AIAW going at that point. So
I'm not sure. I just thought I'd bring that up.
That's a good
And,
point. I'll bring that up. I'll ask Coach Staley tomorrow. Coach, your thoughts on having 4 original ACC teams in your group?
Yeah, the renewal of the ACC conference. And, it's kind of weird, with opening day coming up.
Can we refer to the
weekend.
Maryland coach as Lefty? Can you call her Lefty?
She might be a lefty.
Call Dawn Frank. And
Hey.
who would be John? Who would be John Reebok?
Same brawl.
Who would be John Reebok?
Maybe we'll see that same brawl.
Would
that we saw
Chloe
back in the
Kitts
day.
would Chloe Kitts be John Reebok? Who would play the role of John Reebok?
Well, too bad Watkins isn't playing right now because I think she'd be a good Reebok.
She would be a good Reebok. There's no question that
with
Malaysia
opening day starting.
Let me
know what I'm a
finish.
little
I want to finish this conversation. I'm having fun with it. Malaysia Fulwiley would definitely be John Roach. Malaysia Fulwiley would be
so?
John Roach. Yeah.
No, unless I'm way off my USC men's basketball history. I don't remember Roach coming off the bench.
No. But I mean, as a player, the talent. Yeah, I know she's not coming. I know she's not starting. In fact, why did she play?
Ball handling skills.
Why did she play so little in the game the other day?
Because I don't think she came out playing that well, and the team that was out there, the 5 that she had out there, was playing a lot better together cohesively than when Fulwiley was out there. So that's why she did it. But my last thing with opening day coming up, it's Friday for the Mets. They're playing Friday, Saturday, then they're taking Sunday off, and then they're playing Monday for the third game.
Yeah,
kind of weird.
Yeah, that's what they do. They do that. A lot of times you'll just play opening day and then take the next day off. Just get a game going. It all depends on what ESPN wants to televise in these cases.
Well, it's for weather too, right?
But the Astros to let go of a Sunday attendance day for a Monday game.
Yeah,
that really surprised me. I would have thought that maybe they would have started on a Thursday, maybe taken Friday off, and then did Saturday and Sunday. But,
interesting that they're starting. The Yankees are opening at home this year. Typically, they'll be on the road because of the weather, but they're going to catch a break because the weather in New York tomorrow is supposed to be 53 degrees and clear. So hopefully they'll catch a break.
You saw what the Mets
get
are
that
doing,
first
right?
W. Who was that?
You heard what the Mets are doing, did you, Cord?
No, I did not.
They're having their own 5-borough race during the game. I guess Stearns is kind of taking that away from the Milwaukee sausage race. And Brooklyn's going to be the slice of pizza. The Subway's going to be Queens. Manhattan's going to be a skyscraper. I forgot what Staten Island and the Bronx are going to be.
Staten Island would probably be a boat, and the Bronx they'd have to have some kind of a Yankee thing.
No,
that's what I would do.
Yankee thing.
Yeah, they're not doing that for the Mets. But since you both are our
I'm not gonna say
resident
anything bad
baseball
about
experts,
the Bronx, 'cause that's where my mother was born. So I won't say anything bad about that.
The Bronx,
but
I grew up in the Bronx. I grew up in the Bronx,
Yeah,
and
right.
have fond memories of my days.
Dillon, the suburb of Dillon, the Bronx.
Fond memories of those days.
You and Pedro.
Throwing tennis balls off the back wall of Yankee Stadium. Have fond memories. All right, we got to go. Thank you very much.
Y'all have a good evening.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
I grew up in the Bronx, and then we would vacation in Green Bay. We would go to Green Bay in the summer, and then spend the spring in Boston. So that's how I got acquainted with all 3 of my teams there. So
well, my question to you, and I was going to ask Andy too, but since he's gone, Can we really? I know Major League Baseball is going to do everything they can to promote this as opening day tomorrow, but it's not.
Yeah.
Remember, the Dodgers and Cubs have already opened the baseball season last week in Japan.
It's a lie.
So it's not opening day tomorrow.
How'd that series turn out, by the way? I have no clue.
Dodgers beat the Cubs, I think, twice.
God, the Dodgers are going to be
Dodgers
good
are going to win
again.
like 125 games this year. I mean, they're insanely good.
Going to be
and
good
the Braves
once
get to
again.
see them over the first part of next week.
That's right. That's right. Okay, 2-1. Presbyterian has scored against Clemson, and so the Tigers are holding a 2-1 lead. They're in the top of the second. Second and third with 2 away. So PC is threatening Clemson as they play. After the break, we're going to hear from South Carolina coach Paul Maneri, what he had to say to the three media people who were there last night in Charlotte. What a beautiful ballpark. By the way, did you see the video of the new ballpark in Spartanburg?
Yeah,
for
gorgeous.
the Spartanburgers. That place looks awesome. And I don't even know where it is in Spartanburg, but I got to go find it. But that place looks fantastic. Okay, we'll hit the break. Be back in a moment.
When I grow up, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a dentist. I want to be an engineer.
Making dreams come true starts with making a plan. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to invest in a child's future education so they can chase any dream. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college today at futurescholar.com.
Imagine a scrapbook filled with all your favorite memories of 75 years at Darlington Raceway. Now imagine that scrapbook going 190 miles per hour.
Have you ever? No, I've never.
You don't have to imagine. You need to get to Darlington, where the drivers of today tackle the track too tough to tame, just like they did your first time. NASCAR Throwback Weekend at Darlington Raceway, April 5th and 6th. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com. Discover South Carolina.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wow from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's Corbett. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Tough night last night for South Carolina. Give them credit. I mean, they played hard, fell behind, caught up, but could not handle the eighth inning pitching-wise. North Carolina scored 5. They win it 13-8. So the Gamecocks have lost 4 in a row, and they're staring down the barrel of top-ranked Tennessee and that great team with – you heard Coach Tolman talk about those arms at Tennessee like they're all 100 – well, not 100-plus, but mid to upper 90s. You're going to see – a bunch of hard throwers on this Tennessee team and a great offense on this Tennessee. They're just a complete team. They've only lost 1 game all season long. No, make that 2 games. I'm sorry. 1 game outside the league and 1 game in the league. So after the game last night, down inside the batting cage area at Truist Field, got together with Coach Paul Maneri to get his thoughts on that loss to North Carolina and just some questions about where things kind of stand in his mind right now.
How disappointed are you to see eighth inning again? You know, Sunday you guys get up 7 runs in the eighth and then 5 more tonight. Just how disappointing is that?
Well, obviously it was disappointing. You know, we had a great comeback there and tied the game, had the good potential go-ahead run at second base. You know, one more hit, we take the lead, and, you know, we'll see if we can hold it probably. But I only wanted to use Brandon Stone for the 9th inning today because, you know, he pitched on Friday. Started that game, and you know we need him obviously for this Friday. You know, whether we start him or use him out of the pen, but you know if we'd have taken the lead, I probably would have brought him in the 8th inning there and tried to hold the lead with him for 2 innings. But when we didn't, you know, and the game was tied, you know, the plan was to use all these different guys because we were shorthanded with SQ being hurt, you know, and. You know, we were hoping we'd get a bunch of shutout innings for 1 inning from a bunch of different guys. Unfortunately, we only got 3 shutout innings out of 9. And, you know, we come back, fight back, tie the game, and then walk the leadoff hitter on 4 pitches in the 8th inning. And, you know, you just can't do that against good teams.
Did you have any thoughts on bringing any pitchers in particular back out for a second inning? Like I know you brought Susie back out, maybe like Sweeney or Caleb Jones, anyone like that?
No. The plan was what it was. The only deviation we made was to bring Susie out once we knew there were going to be 4 left-handed hitters in a row the next inning. And I'm trying to remember, is that the inning he gave up the home run, or he gave up the home run in the first inning?
He gave up 2. So
he gave up 2. Yeah, it's so long ago I can't even remember. But that was the only deviation away from the plan was, you know, just knowing that there were 4 left-handed hitters in a row, and we thought Susie gave us a good chance there. But yeah, no. But as far as using other guys, no. The plan was 1 inning each, and you know, hand it to the next guy. But you know, some guys did a good job. I thought Sweeney really threw the ball well tonight. You know, he looked like his old self. I was proud of Caleb Jones. He's been waiting his turn. He came in and gave us a shutout inning. Palmer gave us a shutout inning in the 9th. It was a little too late though. But you know, we just got to keep working hard. But you know, 11 walks, 2 hit batters. I mean, you're just not going to beat teams when you do that. It's hard enough, you know, when you give up hits and some home runs. But when you give 13 free passes, it's just too much to overcome.
Any particular message to your guys with, with Tennessee coming in this weekend? You're coming off the rough weekend in Arkansas, and then tonight, how do they keep their heads up?
Well, they just have to. You know, you just got to keep looking forward and battling each and every day. Every game is an entity into its own. We tell them that from the first day that we ever met them. So you know, nobody ever said it was going to be easy. You know, so you know, you want to play college baseball at this level, then you're going to have some down times, and you know we've faced some really good teams recently, so you know that has a lot to do with it. You know, we just got to keep fighting. That's all.
Is this a little more down than maybe you thought at this early aspect of the season?
I didn't want to really evaluate that, you know, or talk about that. You know, obviously there's some things that we need to improve upon, and you know, but. Hey, listen, we're gonna continue working with the guys, and you know, I mean, there's some things that are fixable. You know, it's not a matter of talent. You know, being able to come in and just come out of the bullpen and throw strikes right away. You know, I mean, some guys do it. Other guys have the ability to do it. When they don't do it, it's something that we've got to improve upon. But yeah, I'm not at the point right now where publicly I'm going to talk about, you know, all the areas we need to improve in, you know, because these are the guys we have, and we're going to work as hard as we can with them.
Do you expect SQ back this weekend?
Hoping so. We're not sure yet. Yeah.
The home run ball kind of bitten you guys lately over the weekend, and then 4 more given up tonight. What do you kind of chalk it up to? Is it just good hitting versus the pitching, or pitch location, or anything else?
Yeah, all of the above. You know, you're facing good hitters. You make a mistake, good hitters are going to take advantage of that. You know, again, the wind was blown out tonight, and you know, it's not a real big ballpark here. It's not as small as Arkansas's, but you know, you give credit to North Carolina. You know, you miss with a pitch, and they make you pay. That's why they're one of the top-ranked teams in the country. They got a really good team, and I give a lot of the credit to them.
offensively, was there anything that you guys did well tonight that maybe you can build on?
Well, we finally got a couple of clutch hits. You know, for a while there, the only runs we scored were on solo home runs again. But then, you know, Kazmar came through with a big hit with 2 strikes on him, and then Bo Hollins came through with a big hit. So, yeah, there's some positives. You know, we just get, you know, normally you score 8 runs in a game. You feel pretty good about your chances, but not tonight. You know, we just couldn't stop them partially because of how good they were, and partially because we handed them 13 free passes. So, you know, it was a great comeback. I was really proud of the guys. They didn't give up. We had a chance to take the lead even in the bottom of the 7th inning there. And then, you know, it got away from us in the top of the 8th inning.
All right, there you go. Some Paul Mainieri. I know he's always a little understated, I think, Chris. Probably a reflection of his age to some degree, 67.
Mm-hmm.
He does sound a little down, I think. I don't know him well enough. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't know him well enough to know if he sounds down or anything. But he's got to be concerned with the way things are going. I mean, look, you're at South Carolina. You're at flipping South Carolina, and you're supposed to be able to beat these teams and be competitive with these teams. I mean, I don't know, being competitive. You lose games. Are you competitive if you're tied and you're in like the 7th or 8th inning and then you get beat? Maybe you are competitive, but you're not. Like with the Clemson series, he does point out that they were in all 3 of those games that they lost late, but they gave up runs late. And Arkansas, one of those games they were in it late and gave up a big inning. I think otherwise they were out of it early. And then there was last night. So they're competitive, but it's like the basketball team. This is like the basketball team redo. Close, but no cigar.
Yeah, I just feel like it's really interesting when you try and juxtapose those 2 programs together, because to me it felt like the basketball team was a lot more competitive in games they lost. Now, there were several games when the men's basketball team, they didn't show up and just got hammered. But games at home in particular, they were in almost every single one of those and had numerous opportunities to win a lot of games. I just feel like right now baseball is not competitive. They weren't competitive against Arkansas. They probably should have won 2 games against Oklahoma. They had no business giving away that game. You wonder how much that's still sort of in their back of their minds. We gave a game away that we couldn't afford to against Oklahoma on Sunday, and they weren't competitive at Arkansas for sure. They were competitive in the Clemson series, but didn't win any of the games. So I don't know. At this level, you're certainly not going to hand out moral victories. And I was looking at the Tennessee pitching staff. You were talking about how talented they are. You have to go through, as the stats are set up with their ERA from lowest to highest, you have to go to their 14th pitcher. They've pitched a bunch of guys this season. You have to get to number 14 before you find a guy with over a 3.0 ERA. Yeah. And it's Thomas Crabtree at 3.24. And I'm sure South Carolina is going to see at some point in time, I guess, Marcus Phillips at some point in time. He's already thrown a complete game this season. He's 6-1 on the year. He's a 2-0, I beg your pardon, and a 1.47 ERA in 30 2/3 innings. I mean, you just look at the monster numbers they are putting up pitching-wise. It's really, really scary, not to mention what they can do with the bat.
Absolutely. Let's go to Keith in Camden before the top of the hour. Keith, welcome in. How are you tonight?
Doing great, Phil, Chris. Hope you all are.
Yes, sir.
Look, I mean, the reality is that there's a big enough sample size to say that, with all due respect, this is not a very good baseball team. And, you know, we both know Paul can coach and we both know Ray can, but it seems like the last 12 years, outside of a few little moments of success, it's been a downhill decline. And, you know, I don't know if that's attributed to the whole landscape of sports or not. I'm interested to see what y'all have to say, but yeah. You know, maybe we just don't have, I don't know, maybe we can't compete in this climate, but you look at 12 years ago, who would have thought Tennessee would be where they were?
Well,
y'all
it took
have a
them,
good one.
Thank you. It took them a while to get there. How many coaches did they go through until they hit the home run, the jackpot with the guy they got now? They went through a bunch. But look at Georgia. Look where Georgia's baseball team is. But they went through
no doubt
several coaches. So, yeah, there's no doubt it's down from where it was under the Tanner years, obviously. Be right back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Wildfires continue to rip through portions of the Carolinas.
Wildfires continue burning in both North and South Carolina, fueled by millions of downed trees left over from Hurricane Helene, along with dry, windy conditions, forcing numerous evacuations. Jeremy Waldrop with North Carolina Forest Service says in Polk and Henderson counties, 3 wildfires have burned more than 6,000 acres, and the largest 2 are out of control at this point.
It's going to be a long duration event for this fire, as well as any other fires that are burning currently.
In neighboring South Carolina, 2 wildfires are burning in Table Rock State Park and nearby Persimmon Ridge. I'm Julie Walker.
The Atlantic on Wednesday released the entire Signal chat among senior national security officials. Secretary of State Marco Rubio was asked if he's confident the information shared on the Signal chat was not classified.
Well, the Pentagon says it was not. And not only did they say it was not, they make very clear that it didn't put in danger anyone's life or the mission. There was no intelligence information. And understand, when this story first broke, they were sort of alluding to whether war maps, whether there was no war plans on there. This was a sort of description of what we could inform our counterparts around the world when the time came to do so.
The chat showed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth provided the exact timings of warplane launches and when bombs would drop before the men and women flying those attacks against Yemen's Houthis this month on behalf of the United States were airborne. President Trump is placing 25% tariffs on auto imports, a move the White House claims will foster domestic manufacturing. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 132 points, the Nasdaq dropped 372. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The words you are about to hear are taken from letters sent in by members of the Trinity Debt Management Program.
Dear Trinity, today I'm making my final credit card payment.
Before I came to you, I was in a constant state of anxiety and panic, but now there is hope for my family's financial future.
Working with Trinity made me understand that I'm not alone.
You really do help people.
Your kindness will never be forgotten.
Without Trinity's support, I would not have achieved my lifelong goal of becoming debt-free.
We saved a lot on interest and penalties, of course, but the reward was the gift of human kindness.
Trinity has carried me through a very difficult time in my life. You're amazing.
I used to feel so anxious and hopeless. Now I feel grace and peace.
God bless Trinity as you continue to help others become debt-free.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
Researchers say they're in limbo as Columbia University bows to President Trump's demands in a bid to restore federal funding. We hear more from correspondent Julie Walker reporting.
Much of the $400 million the Trump administration cut from Columbia University over anti-Semitism concerns on campus went to researchers working off campus on things like curing cancer and studying COVID impacts on children. That's what pediatric researcher Dr. Danny Demetriou does.
The funding cuts have not been specific to topics that involve things like anti-Semitism.
She says
the health of moms and babies is, broadly speaking, a very bipartisan issue.
Salvaging research projects was a factor in Columbia's decision to bow to the Trump administration's demands for change. Julie Walker, New York.
News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union.
on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and cool this evening and low temperature dipping down to 41. Tomorrow, another beautiful day. Sunshine-filled skies, the high temperature reaching 79. Things do cloud up for us on Friday and Saturday. Highs are in the low 80s. While on Sunday, it looks like our best opportunity to wash away the pollen, a 40% chance we get some showers. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
We are back on Sports Talk Media Network on this Wednesday night. Great to have you with us. Phil Kornbluth, Chris Bergen, and the plumber, Josh Cohen. 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number for you to reach us here on Sports Talk. And we will be hearing from a number of people here coming up. SC Wild coming up at the bottom of this hour. Looking forward to having Major Billy Downer. And then, of course, we've got the Sportsman's Classic. I hate that I can't be there this year because I've got to be in Birmingham for the Sweet 16 of the women's tournament. But Smitty will be there, and he'll do a great job, and the Major will have some great guests from the Sportsman's Classic. So we're going to kind of blend the show on Friday night between Sports Talk and the Sportsman's Classic. So that should be a lot of fun. Now to some football talk here on Sports Talk. And our spring practice coverage.
Get it ready, Josh.
Our spring practice coverage here on Sports Talk is absolutely, positively, proudly brought to you by
Lisa.com. LawyerLisa.com.
And, of course, I don't have my Lawyer Lisa. Yes, I do. Hang on a second. I got it right here. It's brought to you by
LawyerLisa.com.
Be sure to visit
LawyerLisa.com
to find out how Miss Lisa and her team can help you plan for your family's future. Again, brought to you by
LawyerLisa.com.
Thank you. People might be wondering, what the heck? I can't say the word lawyer. Well, no, I just said it. I can't say lawyer. Trying to put the word lawyer and Lisa together, my tongue gets all twisted. I'm not able to really make that happen. So we have professional help. One more time.
LawyerLisa.com.
Thank you, Dave. All right. I had a chance to talk to Rashad Faison. Now, Rasul Faison. I had a chance to talk to Rasul. They had a Rashad Faison.
Yes. Are they related?
I don't think so.
Okay.
He didn't mention that they were related. Nobody's ever said that. Rasul Faison, transfer from Utah State. Bergie, take over the show, will you? I'm going home.
We've got some Carolina football. Here it is.
Rasul Faison, one-on-one.
Well, first of all, how have you found South Carolina, the university, the program that you've now entered?
I found it to be, it's just a blessing to be here. Everything they told me from when I was going through the recruiting process is everything has been and more. So I'm just blessed to be here, like I said.
What most attracted you during the recruiting process?
I would say the coaches, they really stood out to me. They was real with me from the start, and they and I go off of energy. And once I walked in the building on my visit, the energy was high. Like I just felt like this was the place.
I know you were busy with your own season last season, so I don't know, do you get a chance to look at some other places when you started thinking about moving somewhere else? And did you check out South Carolina on television or video?
Honestly, no. I was too locked in on my own season and what I had going on with my team at the time, so I wasn't really paying attention nowhere else. And then kind of when I transitioned to the off season, and I was blessed with the opportunity to come back and do another year, when I went through the recruiting process, I started doing research and things like that, and I just feel like this was the perfect fit.
So when you see what Rocket Sanders did last year, and Oscar as well, when you see those guys as transfers come in and have success, was that part of your thought process when you considered South Carolina?
Yeah, for sure. I seen what they was able to do at Rocket Sanders and the 1 year he had left, and the way they developed him his last year, gave him the carries he needed, and let him just do what he needed to do to get to the next level. So I want to follow in those footsteps. And I think he did a great job as well. So,
what are your expectations as you step into this running back room going into spring practice? What goals do you have? What do you think you can accomplish?
I just want to. First, I want to, finish learning the playbook, and so I could slow down the game for myself, and just show everybody, who I am. That's all. Like, I want to show everybody I'm exactly who I say I am, and that I'm meant to be here. I'm here for a reason. So,
who are you? What do you say you are?
I think I'm the best running back in the country. That's who I think I am, and I'm just ready to show it. Day by day. It's going to take some time, and I just want to prove myself. That's all.
Are you one of those backs that, as the game wears on, you want more and more work?
Yes, sir. I think I get better as the game goes on, but that's just how I train my body to just keep getting better as the game goes on, for sure.
And is it particularly exciting for you to get a chance to play in the SEC?
Yes, sir. It's a blessing, especially my journey I've been on, just never giving up, and finally getting my opportunity. It's a blessing to be here, and I'm just ready to show everybody I belong here.
Okay, that is Rasul Faison, a one-on-one we did with him obviously before the start of spring practice, or spring practice coverage, brought to you by Lawyer Lisa.
Corn is illiterate.
Lawyer Lisa. Oh, that was much better. Lawyer Lisa.
Lawyer
Lisa.
Lawyer.
All right, let's don't keep hammering that busted thumb. I've already got busted. Okay, let's go to Clemson. What about? I'll let you lead into the piece here with the defensive end transfer Will Helt from Purdue.
Yeah, really interesting. Clemson has not had a long history of delving into the portal, John. And when they grabbed Will Helt, you would have thought they brought Joe Namath out of retirement. I mean, the amount of publicity that went his way. But he feels like he's a perfect fit for what Clemson wants to do. And Coach Allen actually knew him from his days back in high school. And here's a kid. It's interesting. He talks about this. He won 5 games the last 2 years combined at Purdue. He's hoping for a little bit more success with Clemson, and here's what he had to say to the media a couple of weeks ago as the Tigers were going through the early stages of spring ball.
Grayson Mann with TigerNet.com. Just within your recruitment process, obviously Clemson had filled that position at DC at the time. So what drew you to this campus? What ultimately led to you pulling the trigger on saying this is going to be my new home?
Yeah, I think a big piece of it was just knowing that I wanted to win, and I knew the guys that were coming back into this locker room, and the guys that they were returning, and I knew that the guys on the defensive line, we were going to be coming with a solid unit. So I think that was a big piece for me, and then just culturally, I think it was a great fit. Everything's just so cohesive here, and I think I plugged right in.
John Blau, post-career. Tom Allen recruited you, I guess, when you moved out of Carmel. What do you remember from being recruited by him?
Yeah, so they were one of the first people that recruited me, actually, when he was at IU, back when I finished up my sophomore year in Carmel. But yeah, nothing but good memories with him. Obviously, I ended up going to the rival, Purdue, but I do have the 1-0 record against him when I played him when he was a head coach at IU. But yeah, good memories. He's a great guy, and I'm excited that he's here.
I guess did you get any ribbing from him when you actually met him?
Maybe a couple jabs here and there, but yeah, all good things.
Darian Carter, Purdue News. Coming from Purdue, has there been I guess comparing Clemson, your spring practice with Clemson to Purdue, there been any similarities or differences between, I guess, the intensity, the focus from your perspective?
Yeah, I think just generally a lot of similarities just in terms of structurally, but I think the biggest difference is probably just the pace of practice. I think things here are just a little more intense and a little more ramped up, just going from drill to drill, from play to play. I think there's just more emphasis on just moving quickly and moving with a sense of urgency.
Larry Williams, TigerIllustrated.com. I guess you won 5 games the previous 2 years. How much do you think your hunger can bring and add to a program that has, obviously not where it wants to be, but is used to winning a lot of games?
Yeah. I think no one's hungrier for a win than I am. Like you said, 5 games in the last 2 years, 1 game last year. I'm salivating to get those victories, and that to me is what it's all about. That's why I'm here. I want to win games, and I want to be a part of a team to compete for a national championship.
Okay, there you go. Some comments from Clemson transfer defensive end Will Helt. The transfer receiver is also doing well in practice so far, from what I've been able to read about. So they might have hit on a couple of good ones there in the transfer portal. Seems like it, at least. So we'll see what happens for the Tigers there. And they also, of course, have a defensive end / linebacker they took from Alabama, hoping that he can bounce back and be a major contributor. Okay, after the break, we'll give you recruiting. And then, going to hear from Sunday's winner at Miami, Kyle Larson, here on Sports Talk.
Calling all turkey hunters, this is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Turkey season is coming soon. The most common accident while turkey hunting is failing to identify your target. Know the identifying features of a turkey. Make sure of your target and what lies beyond it before you pull the trigger. Remember, safe hunting is no accident. For more information on hunter education, visit dnr.sc.gov.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wow from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
If you're looking to grow your business, Sports Talk is here to help. Whether you're a small business owner or part of a large company in the Palmetto State, we want to hear about what you do. Sports Talk has a proven track record of delivering real results to our partners, and advertising with us is probably more affordable than you think. Our network of affiliates gives us the flexibility to work with budgets of all sizes, and our statewide coverage means that whether you're in Greenville, Orangeburg, Chesterfield, Charleston, Woodruff, or anywhere in between, your future customers are listening to Sports Talk every night. Radio remains one of the most effective ways to reach potential customers, and with our extensive reach across South Carolina, your message will be heard. Every business has a story, and we're here to help share yours. Let's find success together. Email us at sportstalkmedianetwork@gmail.com or visit sportstalksc.com to learn more about how we can help grow your business.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
Okay, we're back on Sports Talk Media Network. We got some things happening in the background while we try to get things sorted out. So let's go ahead and do the recruiting report, and then we'll see where we will go next. We mentioned Kyle Larson. However, Dabo Swinney just wrapped up a briefing with the media up at Clemson. If we can turn that around here quickly, we'll bring you some of that before we get to SC Wild. However, it is time for the recruiting report brought to you by C. Wells. And what do we have coming up the rest of the week for the daily luncheon buffet?
Tomorrow, Southern Fried Chicken, Irish Beef Stew, Fried Pork Chops, and Shrimp Alfredo. And then Friday, it's Southern Fried Chicken again, Sliced Beef Brisket, Baked Flounder Fillets, and Honey Barbecue.
Plumber's illiterate.
I would be Mike saying that. Honey Barbecue and Lemon Pepper Chicken
Plumber's
Wings.
illiterate. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Honey Barbecue and Lemon Pepper Chicken Wings.
It's easy for you to say. Okay, that sounds great. And, of course, Seawells is there for all your catering needs. Make sure you contact them for everything you need for that special event coming up later this spring, in the summer, or in the fall. And I don't have my little reader piece for Seawells, so I should have the number memorized by now. 803. I got too many numbers in my head. There's no way I'm going to pull that up. Check out Seawell. You got it right there. Give me the number. Have you got the number to Seawells real quick?
I think.
Give me the number.
803-771-7388. 771-7385.
803-771-7385.
SeawellsCateringSC.com.
Okay, there you go. That's how you can reach them. Reach out and do so. This will be the last time I try to break in a new computer on the show. It's not a new computer, but it's new to me. Hard to do.
Henry McMaster's computer, you said.
That was top secret.
Yeah.
Way to go. Anything else you want to, share with the public that should be private? Anything else?
I heard you had the war plans on your computer.
All right, how are we looking with Dabo?
Dabo will be ready if you ever get done with recruiting.
Okay. All right. Let's begin with recruiting here. First of all, Clemson's involved with defensive end Kamarian Johnson, 6'2", 250, out of Muscle Shoals, Alabama. He was in for the Tigers' elite retreat earlier this month. He and defensive ends coach Chris Ruff have been developing their relationship, and that seems to be getting better. He really enjoyed himself on his visit to Clemson, so very much in the hunt for him right now. And he plans to take an official visit with the Tigers May 30th. Also, trips lined up with Alabama, Auburn, and Tennessee. Other offers are Arkansas, Florida, Georgia Tech, LSU, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, and others. Recently went to Ole Miss for a visit, and also Florida, and also he's got Tennessee on April the 5th, and Florida again on April the 11th. Running back Joe Lamar of Moultrie, Georgia, now favoring Clemson, according to Paul Strelo of Tiger Illustrated. He visited Clemson this past Sunday. Many had him pegged for Georgia and then maybe Florida State, and they're still in the hunt. Looks like he'll return to Clemson for an official on May the 30th. Defensive back K.J. Johnson of Birmingham was at South Carolina on Tuesday. The Gamecocks offered him in February. West Virginia and Ole Miss have also offered him. He was at Ole Miss on Saturday. And South Carolina target, offensive tackle Kamari Blair was offered by North Carolina. Clemson target, wide receiver Craig Dandridge, was at Georgia on Tuesday. Basketball. Clemson is among the schools which have contacted South Carolina transfer 6'9" Nick Pringle. Clemson is one of the schools to show interest in West Virginia transfer 6'6" Jonathan Powell. Clemson reportedly is one of the finalists for 6'10" Valpo transfer Cooper Schweiger. Northwestern, Wake Forest, and Michigan are the others. South Carolina and Clemson among the schools to contact 6'8" Binghamton transfer Gavin Walsh. Clemson's one of the schools to touch base with Virginia Tech transfer guard Jaden Young. These are all being reported out there on websites. And Jeff Goodman wrote that more than 1,000 players have put their name in the portal, John, since the basketball window opened on Monday. Okay, there you go with recruiting. Here on Sports Talk, brought to you by Seawells. All right, Bergie, you want to lead us into Dabo Swinney?
Yeah, coming off their scrimmage, she had an opportunity to recap it with the media. It's lengthy. We'll have it up on our website a little bit later at SportsTalkSC.com. But to give you some context, he was evidently asked about how he spent his spring break. And here's what he had to say.
I'm at that stage in life where everybody I know, their kids are getting married, and I got kids, friends getting married. It seems like I'm at a wedding every weekend, but it's all good.
Was it a little smoky out there today?
Smoky? In what regard?
Oh, just there's smoke everywhere.
I didn't notice any smoke. Well, I had no idea. I brought some smoke today, but I didn't know. I didn't know where the fires. Where's it at?
Table Rock and Greenville.
Oh, I didn't know.
How did you bring the smoke today?
Just brought the smoke. Brought the smoke. Give me a microphone, and it gets heated in a football team. The coach, and there's usually something to talk about. That's good.
How was Kenny? Was he?
He's good. He's good. I mean, he's good. He bounced back. I mean, he wasn't terrible. I know everybody may, oh my God, if I say one critical thing, it's like, geez almighty. I mean, he's had a really good spring. I didn't think he was as sharp as he needed to be in that first scrimmage. You know, there was just a couple of things that I just expect of him, you know, at this stage. 2 years ago, I might not have said anything, but at this point, like you know, he's got to be a coach on the field for us. But I mean, he knew it. It's not like he doesn't know it, but anytime you get an opportunity to yell at some of those guys, it's great. He don't give you a lot of opportunity, so take advantage of it when you get a chance to really coach those best players hard. But again, fortunately for him, he doesn't give you a lot of that opportunity. But he's been good. I mean, he's bounced back, had a good couple of days, and I don't know. I think he was 5 or 7 today, and did what he needed to do with his reps. We're really pressing, you know, those other guys, and just trying to, you know, we gotta be, those guys got to be ready to go play. So some guys are limited a little bit. We've got a few guys that are taking all the reps. We're, you know, not tackling them. We're a little thin. We got a bunch of guys that are out. Just you know, I guess just kind of part of it. But we got to practice. We got a lot we got to get done. But you know, limited Woodaz a little bit today. Still got the work he needed, but really forcing an issue on some of these guys that we really need to strain and it not cost us a ball game. You know, so now's the time to get that stuff done. I'm not as much worried about winning the practice as I am getting guys, you know, exposed and get them better.
Speaking of getting guys exposed, how about the corners? I know you were really wanted to see them get better.
Yep. You know, they're. I mean, AV's been really good all spring. Ashton has you know, been pretty consistent. I think the biggest thing with him is just, again, continuing to be really detailed in his work and just being a little bit more serious from time to time. He's just his personality. He's got he's just a kind of a happy-go-lucky kid, and just, you know, there's some times where I think he just needs to be a little bit more intense in the moment. But I mean, elite talent. You know, Gip's made a lot of progress this spring. I mean, he had a PI today, and it was just really more just awareness. You know, he was in a great position, and just, you know, just really, you know, not panicking in a situation. Miles Oliver had a pick today. It was good to see him because, I mean, he's been here 3 years, hasn't played a snap. He's been hurt the whole time he's been here. So, I mean, it's just good to see him out there. And it was good to see him make a big play in a 2-minute situation today. That was good. You know, so we're trying to bring as many of those guys along as we can and get them ready. But they're all making some strides. That's still got a lot of work to do.
Dabo Swinney from his post-practice, post-scrimmage media briefing. They did that outside, did not go into the media room to do that. As Bergie said, we'll have it all up for you on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, coming up in just a little bit. So, After the break, Major Downer will join us. Going to talk some more turkey hunting in South Carolina. Jeff Cantrell's going to be with him as well. Nope.
Jay Cantrell.
Jay Cantrell. Why should I get a name right tonight? I haven't gotten a single name right tonight. Why should I start now? Thank you. He will be with Major Downer, and we'll talk about the turkey hunting and also the Sportsman's Classic coming up, of course, with a DNR heavily involved in that as well. So stay tuned for that. If you have a question for the Major, feel free to give us a call, 888-898-2525, or send us a text at 803-900-4847. We'll be back. SC Wild is coming up after the break.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and cool this evening and low temperature dipping down to 41. Tomorrow, another beautiful day. Sunshine-filled skies, the high temperature reaching 79. Things do cloud up for us on Friday and Saturday. Highs are in the low 80s. While on Sunday, it looks like our best opportunity to wash away the pollen, a 40% chance we get some showers. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Tradition and quality. That's what you get with H&J Cattle Company, where local third-generation farmers ensure you receive the finest beef in South Carolina. Our registered Hereford and Wagyu cattle are raised with sustainable practices without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. Taste the difference with the highest quality beef guaranteed. Order now at HandJCattle.com or on Instagram and Facebook at H&J Cattle. Again, HandJCattle.com, where ethics meets quality.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A magazine journalist's account of being added to a group chat of U.S. national security officials coordinating plans for airstrikes has raised questions about how highly sensitive information is supposed to be handled. Atlantic editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg detailed a discussion that happened over the Signal messaging app hours before the strikes. The National Security Council has since said the text chain appears to be authentic. Signal is an app that can be used for direct messaging and group chats as well as phone and video calls. A measles outbreak in Kansas more than doubled Wednesday to 23 cases, and an outbreak in Ohio grew to 10. Kansas health officials say there's a possible link to outbreaks in Texas and New Mexico. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 132 points. More details at srnnews.com.
So who needs broker solar? Well, it's the homeowner or the business owner that want to take some control of their own power bills. It's the family that decides clean solar is the path for them. Or maybe it's the church or nonprofit that wants to save some big dollars for their cause. Is it you? Maybe it's time you wake up to all Broker Solar can do for you. You have to let Ken and his team be your ultimate guide in what is pretty complex, this solar world. Make no mistake, solar energy is not for everyone. Despite what the scammers and door-knocking liars tell you, it is not free. It's a significant investment, but it has significant returns. From home installations to solar farms, Broker Solar can personalize your solar solution by meeting your needs and your budget. Their menu includes everything from full-scale solar on your roof or land and even battery backups for those pesky power outages that we've all endured. Visit brokersolar.com, stick it to the utility companies while also bathing in the sunny side of savings. Brokersolar.com, giving you the power instead of leaving you feeling powerless.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Explore the world with the 30th Annual Columbia International Festival, April 5th and 6th at the South Carolina State Fairgrounds with plenty of free parking. Experience 100 national exhibits, cuisines from around the world, an international bazaar with unique gifts, a global fashion show, parade of nations, and the sights and sounds of performers from around the globe. For tickets and more information, visit cifonline.org. That's cifonline.org.
Are you ready to have a boatload of fun this spring? Sail on down to your local Palmetto State Armory store and deck yourself out in our new lifestyle t-shirts, hats, and fishing shirts. Seize the day with brands like Hey Dudes, Costa, Turtle Box, Local Boy, and more. Our selection of rifles, pistols, and shotguns is sure to impress. So don't be left fishing for something to wear once the warmer weather has arrived. Check out one of our 9 retail locations or PalmettoStateArmory.com to outfit your next adventure.
Hey, honey, will you pick up some cold medicine? I'm not feeling great today.
Already on it. I stopped by True Pharmacy and got some for free.
For free?
Yes, every time we shop at True, we earn loyalty points we can use out front.
I remember now. We got $10 in loyalty points just for transferring our first prescriptions.
That's right. True Pharmacy, the pharmacy that truly cares. Come see us at our new Columbia location at 623 Beltline Boulevard or in West Columbia at Triangle Pharmacy at 1239 D Avenue. Visit TrueRxSC.com for more info.
It's SC Wild with Major Billy Downer from the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer is here to answer your questions about the great outdoors. Call in now at 888-898-2525 and join SC Wild on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, great to have Major Billy Downer with us once again. This edition of SC Wild on Sports Talk, presented by the Departments of Natural Resources. That's
right. It's turkey time.
That's not the Major beating a dog or anything, right? You're practicing your turkey calls.
I am calling on a John Tanner call, one of my prized possessions. Mr. Tanner gave that to me when you and I did the show 2 years ago.
I remember that. Yeah.
Across from us gave me the call and said, "Hey, I want you to go kill a turkey for it." I would take it back to his booth. He said, "I want you to go kill a turkey with it," and I did the next morning and brought him a picture of it. So he was excited. But yeah, John Tanner's a very well-known turkey call maker from Hemingway, South Carolina. I've got a red cedar call of his here, and it just really has a really sweet sound. I like slate. A lot of people don't, but I love slate.
Man, if that doesn't attract the turkey, I don't know what will.
It has a lot of variety, real sharp sound, crisp sound. I like it, but I'm sure that Jay Cantrell, who's joining us again tonight to talk in turkey for us as we prepare for turkey season, just around the corner. I'm sure he has his favorite call as well. Jay, you online with us? So I wonder what Jay's favorite call. With us. Jay, what's your favorite call?
Oh, I'm a big fan of slate calls too, or glass calls. I mean, I use a little bit of everything, mouth calls and box calls, but I think my go-to is an old slate call I've had for years. So. Yep. So I always keep finding new ones that I want. So my collection of slate calls just keeps getting bigger. And like I said, Classic last year is my latest edition with John Tanner. That was a really cool call and a really nice man, and just enjoyed bringing that turkey picture to show him the next day. It was kind of funny. But anyway, we are going to talk turkey again tonight. Phil got Jay Cantrell. Jay, we're going to go back through kind of the rules to make sure people are on the same page. I think for the first time you hear it, it's a little confusing, but our turkey season does open up statewide on WMA and private land all across the state, same dates, April 3rd, and will run to May 3rd. So you can only take 2 gobblers this year, no more than 1 per day, and no more than 1 prior to April the 10th. So if you shoot a gobbler between April 3rd and April 10th, you're going to have to wait until April 10th to shoot the second one. So, so 2 big changes this year. Number 1, it is now unlawful or illegal to harvest a jake. Now, jakes are, if you hunt turkeys, you know jakes are young birds. That's your young bird. That would be attributed from a deer hunter standpoint to a year-old deer, a cow horn. Button buck.
A button buck. Yeah, that's your jake. This year, to define that for folks that don't know, a jake is going to be defined as a bird that has 2 things. Number 1, a beard less than 6 inches. The beard is what comes out of the front of the bird, and a tail fan that's not fully developed. A jake, as you all know, turkey hunters know, the center feathers are longer than the outside feathers. So 2 things define the jay: a beard less than 6 inches and a tail fan that is not fully developed with longer feathers in the center and the outside feathers shorter. You can have a bird that is a fully developed bird, a adult gobbler that has a beard less than 6 inches sometimes. That's where some confusion comes in, but because there are lots, and Jay, we could go into that, but I'll try to avoid that tonight to get into the details of the environmental conditions that can occur to cause a beard to not be 6 inches. They could have mites, beard rot, a couple of different things, burning, eating in front of fire where it's burned it. A lot of different things could cause it to lose that length. Again, spurs. Most people that hunt turkeys, that full tail fan is an adult bird. So the number one thing to remember this year, you cannot shoot a jake. Number 2, and this is another thing, this is a safety piece, and also it's mostly probably safety more than anything else. But on private lands, statewide, it's going to be unlawful to stalk a wild turkey while behind a decoy or tail fan. A lot of folks call that reaping, but to avoid confusion, the act that is illegal is stalking a wild bird while sitting behind, while standing, moving toward them with maybe holding a decoy in your hand or either a tail fan on your gun barrel. Those have been around for several years now. That is now illegal to do that. So you cannot stalk a bird while holding a decoy or using a tail fan to hide yourself behind as you move toward a bird. The act of moving and stalking is what's illegal. So there's another technique, folks, called fanning. That is where you use a tail fan when you're sitting down stationary at a tree, and you pick the fan up and you can show the bird the fan, and a lot of times a bird that's holding up, they'll commit when they see that. That is still legal. You just can't move with it. You can't stalk with it. You can sit still and use it. A lot of folks, there's been some confusion about, can I use a decoy with a tail fan? Absolutely, you still can use any of the types of decoys out there that have full fans, half fans, whatever, a real fan or a synthetic fan. You can use those in your decoy spread while you sit stationary near there by a tree or in the bushes, whatever. That is legal to do. So, Jay, help me on that. Is there anything I missed?
Yeah, one bit of clarification there. Just there is a slight difference between private land and WMA, wildlife management area, or public land.
Correct.
On public land, and this has been in place for about 4 or 5 years now. Both of those techniques you described, reaping and fanning, are illegal on public land. So you cannot either hold a fan and manipulate it, or hide behind a fan or a decoy, even if you're sitting still. On public land. So it's slightly confusing. We understand that, it's a little different, slightly different law and wording.
But to clarify that's on WMA land only. If you're on WMA land, that's right. That's where that applies. On private land, but on either of those properties, you can use a bird with a full tail fan as a decoy.
That's right. You can use decoys on either, as long as they're placed out away from you and you're not hiding behind them. So, yeah, and again, you said that's a safety thing, and we want people to realize that regardless of where you're hunting, public or private, or even in another state where all this may be legal, keep in mind those techniques are inherently dangerous. They go against all hunter safety standards and practices, and so that's the primary reason why these new laws are in place is for safety. And people say, well, on private land, why does it matter? I know who's there. But a lot of accidents still occur on private land. You don't know who else
I can promise you, if you think you're on your own property, and you are, and you say, I'm the only one here, that's not necessarily true. People trespass all the time, particularly when turkey hunting comes on, and they hear a bird, and they think you're a bird, and they come to you regardless of property lines, or they just get lost or in the moment and forget. That's when our accidents happen.
Yeah, people slip across lines. And there's even, I'm personally aware of several of these accidents in other states where people even knew somebody was on their property with, a hunting party that split up and went different ways and lost track of where each other were, or, there are accidents where even people who know somebody's on the property, get involved. So, it's turkey hunters need to be careful in general. You're well camouflaged. You're hiding and sitting in, in areas, so, out of sight. It's one of those things that you just have to always be aware and kind of defensive and obviously as a shooter too, you need to positively identify your target every time. But that's a big message for us. We just want people to be safe out there. We want to get through the turkey season with as many people as we started with. So.
Absolutely. So, Jay, I'm going to give you an opportunity in just a moment to go through some of the things that there have been some mistakes listed, and I want you to go through that a little bit with us. But before I do that, we did this last time. I want to go through what is required to turkey hunt. So, if you want to turkey hunt, you're going to be required to be licensed with a big game permit in South Carolina. That's required because turkeys are one of our three big game animals. A lot of people don't realize that sometimes. They still forget that. White-tailed deer, black bear, and the wild turkey, the eastern wild turkey are three big game animals. So you're required to have a license with a big game permit. That's required. You're also required to have turkey tags. The turkey tags, a set of 2 tags will cost you $25 for a resident and $125 for a non-resident. So for residents, that state hunting license, big game permit, and then your turkey tags is what you're going to be required to have to hunt on private land. Of course, if you want to hunt on WMA land, you're going to have either a sportsman's license that includes a WMA permit or a separate WMA permit purchased so that will allow you to hunt on public land, what we call wildlife management areas. Now, as far as hunting, legal weapons are shotguns, muzzleloading shotguns, bows, and crossbows. You can't use rifles, pistols, slugs, or buckshot. If you have buckshot in possession while you're turkey hunting, that is a fine and can cost you some money. There's plenty of turkey shot out there that's legal, lots of different types, from bird shot size to mixed sizes with number 4s, number 6s, a lot of different sizes in there. There's, of course, the TSS, a lot of these the newer style non-toxic loads that have really good flight characteristics. They've got really good as far as the shell dynamics. The shell's created in such a way and has a wadding that directs the shot that now some of the shots are out there at 75 yards being accurate, which is incredible and really unheard of. But again, that's what you can shoot birds with. Basically, shotgun is the most popular method. It's unlawful to shoot a turkey between 30 minutes after official sunset and 30 minutes before official sunrise. So turkey hunting begins 30 minutes before, right there before official sunrise, and ends 30 minutes after sunset. A lot of waterfowl hunters get confused on that. That's okay. You can start 30 minutes before sunrise and hunt through 30 minutes after sunset. You can't shoot a bird from a vehicle on a public road. Again, you can't hunt turkeys over bait. A lot of questions come up with bait when it comes to turkey hunting. Bait is simply this. It is the placing, depositing, exposing, distributing, or scattering of salt, corn, wheat, or other grains or foodstuffs that constitute a lure or attraction for wild turkeys. An area remains baited for 10 days following the complete removal of all bait. A lot of questions in the last 2 weeks. I've received phone calls from lots of hunters talking about deer feeders or hog feeders. They've left their feeders up. They want to know, hey, if I cut the feeder off, am I legal? Well, as long as there's no corn on the ground, you're legal. Up to, as long as there's no corn, 10 days after that last kernel's gone, it's not baited anymore. Here's the problem if you leave corn in the feeder. How many times have deer bumped the feeder? How many times will a hog rub on the side of that bar that holds it up? Or if you have bears, I can promise you they're going to mess with it, and they're going to scatter corn if you've left corn in that feeder. They'll scatter it, and every time it scatters one kernel, you've now baited that area again until 10 days after it's been removed. I know that sounds a little strict, but it's just the smartest way. If you have deer feeders, take them up or completely empty them. You can leave them up, but have them completely empty so that you have no issues with hunting near them. A lot of people have questions about that. That's my advice on those. So that's basically your rules for turkey hunting. As far, you must have your tags in possession when you're hunting. So when you shoot your 2 birds, if you shoot and tag out this year and shoot 2 birds, you can still take other people hunting. Okay, that's legal once you've tagged out to take other people hunting. We want you to take somebody else to enjoy it. They have to have their tags with them in order for you to be able to take them. So Jay, I know there have been some misprints in some different areas. Can you cover that for us?
Absolutely. And real quick before I get to that, I wanted to make one note on when you were talking about tags that some people don't realize or forget. Youth also have to have tags. They're free, but it doesn't matter what age they are, even if they're not old enough to have a hunting license. They're still required to have tags. So make sure if you take any youth, you get their tags. They're free of charge. They're not the $25 like they are for an adult. And then
with the exception of youth days.
Yeah, that's right. For youth
days, they don't have to have tags.
They don't have to have tags, and we can cover youth day stuff. But yeah, that's this weekend and the weekend after the season.
Okay.
And lifetime license holders, seniors, disability license, those folks also get free tags by request. So,
absolutely.
But yeah, there are a couple misprints that were in our rules and regulation book that comes out in August every year. Primarily because the turkey season legislation didn't get passed until about a day before the rules and regs went to print, and so it was a very rushed process to get that information in there. And there was 2 minor things. One, in one place, it had the old bag limit of 3 listed. It was still showing as 2 in a couple places, but there was one place it slipped through, and it says 3. Obviously, everybody's just getting 2 tags, and the information printed on the back of your tags, and with the informational insert that comes with your tag says 2. But just there may be some people that get a little confused with that. So there was that, and then as you were mentioning earlier, the definition of a Jake in the rules and regs book, where it says a beard less than 6 inches, instead of saying and a tail fan that's not fully developed, it said or, and that wouldn't be correct. Those things have been corrected on our e-regs, our online version of the regulations. But if you have a print copy of the book, those were not correctly indicated. So, but like I said, we've put the correct information out there that everybody gets with their tags. So just make sure you read the back, the front of your tags carefully, the back portion, the back print on the tag form, and then the insert that comes with it, and you'll have all the correct info.
I know you've been doing a lot of social media posts, making sure that people have an opportunity to see that, to know what where those incorrect statements are and what the law is.
Yeah, we've been trying to get messaging out, because again, there's a lot of changes. Season dates and length have changed, bag limits have changed, the jakes, the reaping, additional youth weekend. There was a whole lot of stuff that happened within legislation last summer, and so we're trying to get everybody up to speed and make sure everybody's aware of all the new things that are in place. So yeah, that's a good thing. And we pay attention to social media, and we try to keep people updated there.
And officers are not immune to being having questions too. We you and I worked on that, and I sent out a very specifically worded description so that people would know, even our officers would know, what these new rules mean, so that we're not telling people the wrong thing. Because a lot of people think you can't use a decoy with a fan. Well, that's not true. You can. Yeah. You just can't stalk with it. That's really what it breaks down to. You can't stalk with it.
That's right.
So, and misinformation is just as bad. It gets out there, and then people start spreading it, and then people hear it and they think it's true. But the truth is, the reality is, for this season, you can use a bird, a decoy, with a tail fan. That's completely legal as long as you're not stalking with it. So the Jake piece is just as simple as it is: less than 6 inches, a beard less than 6 inches, and a tail fan that's not fully developed. That means that the front, the middle center feathers are longer than the outside feathers. We won't go into the super Jakes. That's correct. So, let's talk about game check. I know you've been instrumental in getting game check going. That's something else required this year is to report your harvest of your turkey through the Go Outdoors SC mobile app. Jay, talk about that for a minute.
That's still in place. Great program that we've had for a few years for turkeys, and I think most people know last year for the first year for deer, and it's been well received by hunters. It gives us excellent quality harvest data. We can look at harvest by day, by county, by time of day, by WMA. We can get a lot of really good information that helps us manage these birds across the state. And also it's up-to-date information that's available to the public. Hunters can see the totals on what's been harvested and reported on their app or on the website. So it's not only good information for us, but it's, a lot of hunters have used that and look, and it's really cool for them to keep up with what's happening across the state and kind of track the harvest. But there's multiple ways you can do it. Most people are using the online app that we have, Go Outdoors SC mobile app, that, you can buy your license on there. You can look at sunrise, sunset. You can look at tides. There's a whole host of functions on that app. But one function of the app is called SC Game Check, and that's where you go in and report your harvest. It's a really user-friendly, slick, quick process. The main thing is, if you've never used it before you go out and use it, you have to, kind of put your information in there, your profile, get your license information and tags kind of loaded in the app. And then once that's in there, you're good to go. But it's a, quick few clicks and you're done and reported, and you get a confirmation number. And then your harvest report is logged in there, so you can go back and, look at that or show an officer or anything of that nature. So really good, for the people who are averse to using apps or don't have smartphones. There's 3 other methods. You can go on our website and report, or you can text. There's a 1-833-4SC game number. It's all this is on the information that comes with your tags. You can text the word harvest to that, and then it's kind of a automated prompt system where you can report your harvest that way, or you can go old school and pick up a phone and call that number and do a kind of a touch tone automated operator type system and report that way. That's obviously the most primitive way, and it's also the most cumbersome and takes the longest to do, but it is doable. But we have a handful of people that still use that method, but most people are on board with the app now, or if you're doing the website. But we do like to have other options out there just to accommodate everyone. But it is required by law. You got to do it by midnight. It's important information for us, and it's good information for the public too.
Well, like you said, it's cool. You go in there under the harvest data. How's it? You look at the harvest for the state.
It's called Hunter's Toolbox.
Yeah, the Hunter's Toolbox. That's it. And you can see where birds have been taken. Not what field, not what address. It's not going to give you a GPS locator to where you took a bird, but it'll report, like for Clarendon County, Sumter County, Edgefield County, across the state, McCormick County. It'll tell you how many birds have been taken and reported in that county. It's really cool. Private land
or by
and
WMA.
On public land. That's right, on public land.
If you report on the WMA, you report the actual property there, so you can get down to that level. But no, it's really, really cool feature for hunters if they're not aware of it. And so we're excited about it again, and trying to make sure everybody's aware. We've had good compliance with it and good participation, and we just want everybody to keep using the app, keep reporting, and it helps us out tremendously in management.
Absolutely. Well, Jay, thanks for being on the show tonight. I think we're less than a minute to go, but for everyone to get ready to take on the turkey season, good luck to you. Remember, be safe and be seen. Here's the big thing in turkey hunting. We hide very well, and sometimes we hide well. The other hunters can't see you either. Don't wear anything red or blue. And sometimes that sounds funny, but we've had people get shot for having a red e-cigarette or e-lighter, those cigarettes. So don't have anything red. Don't use a red handkerchief or anything like that, because people get really excited when they hear that. And they get fired up. So just be safe. Let people know where you're going to be hunting. Always, let them know when you plan to return. So if you don't return, they know when to start looking for you. But good luck this turkey season. Be safe.
Great stuff. Thank you, Major and Jay. And Major, reminder, right? Friday night out at the Sportsman's Classic. You'll be out there with Smitty broadcasting here on Sports Talk.
Hearing lots of turkey talk calls just like that everywhere.
Absolutely. You'll be trying to out turkey the next guy.
That's it.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jay. Great stuff. Turkey season, of course, huge here in the state of South Carolina. Hopefully you learned some good stuff from Major Downer with all that tonight. Okay. Before we leave you, if I can get back here and find my stuff with this computer, I wanted to update the Clemson game for you real quick. Clemson was winning handily last time I checked against Presbyterian, and they are winning handily 7-1 for the Tigers, and they're playing in the top of the 6th. We'll have post-game of that posted on our website, and, of course, the Dabo Swinney going up there as well. We'll be in Birmingham tomorrow to cover the South Carolina women. We'll talk to you from there. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Josh. See you tomorrow.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Well.